All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to cilinixfxcapital. I had some trouble with starting the stream, so my apologies for being a minute late. But let me know. It's still showing me that that there's not enough frames coming through, and that the status of the stream is poor. So first of all, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this new news live stream. But let me know how the quality is. I think the audio is quite alright, but the kilobytes per second that it's sending is quite low, and it's dropping some frames. So the quality might not be amazing. Let me know. At least for now, I'll just continue like nothing is going on. But the quality of the stream, yeah, it's good, Pablo. Okay, then I'll just assume like nothing is going on, even though I get warnings all over my screen. But okay. What's up, everybody? What's up, Bus? James, welcome to the stream. User DH Raghuendra, welcome to the stream. We're going to do a nice old-fashioned economic update. We'll have some data coming out. I look like Sorloth. No, I don't get that. Believe it or not, but I've actually quite often. No, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I can see it a little bit, but it's you know what I get more often? I used to get it even more often. Is Matthijs de Ligt. I used to get that quite a lot. I've even had a couple of times, but obviously I also live in Amsterdam, and back when he was playing for Ajax. I had quite a lot of people calling me Matthijs de Ligt or thinking I'm Matthijs de Ligt, so that was pretty fun. But Sorloth, I've never. Not before today. Joandre, welcome to the stream. Ditwa, welcome. Ali, welcome. Big Daddy, Tracy, welcome to the stream. What's up, everybody? Okay, so we have some GDP data. Oh, by the way, I do have to let everybody know that we're live, because right now. Obviously in the morning I said it, but outside of that I have not mentioned it. So let me quickly say that everywhere. And then we'll get to the news. Well, I'll tell you what I expect, or at least I'll tell you what I want to see from the data. It's going to be quite important. I mean, Bitcoin has been quite volatile, as you can see right here. Although this morning was quite good, this is a little bit worse. We're nearing that most important level right here at 67,000. In my opinion, at least, that's the most important level right here. So it's going to be quite interesting to see if we can actually hold that after the news as well. And I also am a little bit curious if we had any news coming in, because this move is quite aggressive. So we'll see. It's not unexpected, but it's quite aggressive. All right, almost done. Okay, yeah, okay, we're good to go. Yeah, okay, we're good to go. I think so. Yeah, market is definitely risking off. We're still holding support though. I think, yeah, AFEX was very strong this morning. Of course, it's nearing some important levels. It could just be that the price action that we had this morning was a bit of a short squeeze, and that we are going to get a very bearish Friday. Although Fridays, like I also said in my videos this morning, Fridays over the course of the last month or 3 months or so have actually been quite good. But that's also something I've heard quite a lot on X, right? And whenever you hear something a lot. So whenever a lot of people are aware of a certain phenomenon, such as Friday being quite bullish for crypto, obviously I'm talking about last week, Friday, which was very good, but outside of that, Fridays on average, as you can see, have been pretty good as well. But the thing is that whenever everybody expects that, you're going to get some witchery, right? I mean, some longs are going to be trapped, such as potentially earlier today. And I mean, just the fact that something has happened for the last 6 weeks or so does not necessarily mean that it's going to happen again. So that is another thing to be aware of, at least. And then, you know, while we're aware of that, we'll talk about, or at least we can talk about, okay, what's most likely. Michael Saylor is saying some things. US is sending a new warship to Iran. Okay. Yeah, no major news. I mean, at the moment, obviously the fundamentals are not amazing. But oil prices are at the same levels as this morning, so there's nothing happening with that. The volatility index is also at the same prices. So we got some headlines as you could see, but none of those headlines I think matter too much for the market right now. So we'll see. It's all about the data right now. A little bit more than 2 minutes, and then we'll see. Finn, yes, I'll do a fetch update soon. And Ninjanomics, I know, but. The thing is that the messaging around the current situation with the US and Iran, it's all over the place. I mean, it's in the morning we hear quite positive reports about a potential deal being struck, and then in the afternoon we hear about that the probabilities of a strike are rising, and then in the evening we again hear that a deal is coming, right? So it's very uncertain in general already. Dennis, welcome to the stream. Thomas, welcome. Mira, welcome to the stream. Greg, welcome. So we have some data coming out. I mean, the markets are already quite volatile at this point of time, as you can see. Some upwards volatility, some downwards volatility. For me, do I think this data can cause a breakout when we're talking about the wider range right here? I would say no. But I do think it can cause volatility, and I do think, for example, if this data is good, for example, I think we can get a move into the upside, right? So I think we can move into 70,000. I think we can move into 70,800. That is a realistic possibility as long as the data is good. Now, what is good data? Now that we're almost getting it, good data would be GDP growth data being as expected or higher than expected. And it would be core PCE price index and PCE price index data that would be lower than expected, because PCE price index data and core PCE price index data, it might sound fancy, but it's just inflation data. And it's inflation data that the Federal Reserve cares a lot about. So that's what we'll be watching as well. We will have the data in a little bit less than a minute. Let me quickly send the link for this website as well to all of you. That way you can check it yourself as well, because there is a little bit of a delay with this live stream, right? So whenever I tell you the news is already out, which shouldn't matter too much unless you're trading the news. But if you're trading the news, then probably you already have the data next to you. So it's it doesn't matter that much, but just wanted to have sent it to all of you. So a couple more seconds, half a minute left. Markets have de-risked a little bit already, but we'll see what it brings. I mean, so far we've gotten a pretty good reaction at the previous week value area low, so we'll see. We'll see, and it's going to be interesting nonetheless, right? It's always interesting to get data like this. And the last couple of times it was quite positive, so I'm expecting this to be negative again. It's the way it works, right? And the data is out. We're slowly going to get some data right here. I'm looking at the price of Bitcoin at the top of my screen as well. So far, not really any movement. Core PCE price index higher than expected. PCE price index higher than expected. That's slightly bearish, I'd have to say. GDP growth rate much lower than expected. Okay, this is not great. Yeah, that's not good. GDP price index, can we also get that data? I don't like this data. GDP price index higher than expected. Bitcoin is quiet given the data, but this data is much different than expected. Yeah, this is not great. Honestly, this is not bullish data. No. GDP growth rate, I would have expected it higher as well. I mean, the previous data was so good. And then now we were expecting 3% again. But it's 1.4%. And then the GDP price index data, which you prefer to be slightly lower as well, is 3.7%, while we expected 2.8%. And then we have all the inflation rate data, PCE price index month on month, year on year, core PCE price index, and that's all higher than expected. So this is bad data. I consider this bearish, honestly. So far, the market is not necessarily reacting to it that much. We've seen a bit of a drop. Maybe this drop was already front running the news. Maybe some of the news already got leaked, or some of the news was already known slightly. I mean, Trump did tweet about it, right? I mean, Trump did say right here. Yeah, so Trump said government shutdown cost US at least 2 points in GDP. So maybe the market already thought, okay, this is a bit of a soft launch of bearish news. That could be a possibility. But I mean, honestly, both the GDP data is worse than expected and the inflation rate is worse than expected. So I was potentially interested in buying some things earlier today, but at this point of time, I'm most certainly not. Not anymore. I can't be, if you get news like this, and the volatility index is already elevated, it's just not a market you want to be buying into. So no, bad news for everybody that's tuning in just now. A full overview of the data is GDP growth rate. Expected 3%, real results is 1.4. GDP price index, expected 2.8, real result 3.7. PCE price index month on month, consensus 0.3, real results 0.4% increase. PCE price index year on year, consensus was 2.8%, real result was 2.9%. Core PCE price index year on year, expected was 2.9%, real result was 3.0%. So what that means is that the GDP data, well, we already have some recession fears at this point of time. GDP was worse than expected, which increases fears of a recession. And then the inflation rate, which you would say, if the GDP data is going to be worse than expected, the inflation rate will cool down as well. But no, the inflation rate, the PCE price index data and core PCE price index data, is also higher than expected. So that's a double bearish news. And that's why, fundamentally at least, this is bearish, right? I mean, there's no doubt about the fact that this is bearish news. Now, if it's actually going to crash the price, that is more interesting. And that remains uncertain, because what I always say, whenever there's good news, what I always say is that good news does not always mean that the market is going to dump. And the opposite is true as well. Bad news does not always mean that the market is going to dump either, okay? Sometimes bad news actually creates the best rallies. Believe it or not. It doesn't happen often, I have to admit, but it has happened in the past. So I still think it's good to be pragmatic, but, personally, talking about some of my personal trading, I mean, this morning I was looking at an AVAX long right here at $9. And, we're at $9 right now. You could say that we're holding that, but I am not going to take that trade anymore given this data. I think I'm not sure how much the stock market is down slightly. Volatility index is still elevated. Oil prices, the dollar is up slightly. As a bit of a counterweight, so far the market does not seem to care that much about this data. I mean, if you take a look at the stock markets right here, they're relatively flat. If you talk about the dollar strength index, that's relatively flat as well. So maybe we actually have a chance to turn this into some sort of a bear trap. But I would wait for the bear trap to actually form before calling it a bear trap, of course. Yeah, Big Daddy, everything is falling. Everything is falling at this point of time together. Look, if you take a look at this, I mean, we have some, initially, before the data actually came out, we had shorts coming in. And those shorts were not very aggressive, right? I mean, you can see the shorts are very spread out over the candle. So it's not really aggressive. But these shorts that we have gotten since the news, we have gotten about $315 million of either shorts or long closes. And you can see it's quite aggressive. There's a lot of shorts here to the bottom of the candle. And those are circumstances. And that is price action that can create bear traps. So, even though the news is bearish for everybody tuning in just now, the news has been bearish. Both the GDP data was bearish and the PCE price index, the inflation rate data basically was also bearish. But even though the data is bearish, and even though at this point of time Bitcoin is also breaking down, by the way, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. At this point of time, it looks bad, but I haven't fully given up yet. Given up hope yet. For me, the most important level is sitting right here at 67,000 still. And if we are going to be able to reclaim that, I do give the market I do give the market a bit of a chance to recover this. I think so. Yeah, but the entire market right now is incredibly weak. I saw that I actually had a long open just a moment ago. We'll see where that goes. It's probably not going to go that well. Oh, it's actually holding on relatively well. Atom, it's holding on quite well, it seems. Yeah, that's actually holding on relatively well. Great. But outside of that, no, the market is not looking amazing. VVV, Venice is still doing quite good. Rocket Pool doing quite good. No, DH, I'm not in lit anymore. I'm not certain if you're in a signal group, because in the signal group, obviously, I also sent a lit long. But I closed it at entry. I updated to close it at entry. And, well, I mean, it's quite clear why. We rejected at 1.52. 1.52 was a very important level that lit really needed to break above right here. So whenever we got that rejection, I thought, okay, let's de-risk it, and it's not worth it at this point of time. The main support is right here, and we're barely getting any support from that. So we'll see. Yeah, Ali, but you should always be careful with those pings, because those exchange notifications about the price dropping, etc. That's mostly just ways to get you trading, right? I mean, then they make it seem like there's some sort of volatility you should jump into, and most often, whenever exchanges are sending notifications about the price action, that is usually a time where you should not trade the markets. That's how it is. Canton, yeah, but Canton was so incredibly strong. I mean, I doubt that it's looking bad right now. But Canton is also not looking great, I'd have to say. I mean, Canton got this fake out right here, and since then it's kind of been, potentially distributing. But obviously on the higher time frames, it's still incredibly strong. Ninjanomics, honestly, no. Like Constellation DAG, it's been years since I looked at that. And IOTA, sometimes I still look at that, but barely. Those are not coins I trade at the moment. I mean, at this point of time, the coins that I trade most are Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, SUI also still, for better or for worse, and Solana. Those are the only coins I trade at the moment. So, quickly a summary and an overview for those of you tuning in a little bit later. We just had the major economic data about 10 minutes ago. And you can see that the GDP growth rate was lower than expected. GDP price index higher than expected. And then all of the PCE price index and core PCE price index data was higher than expected. So that's worse than expected data on the growth rate, on the GDP data. And that is worse than expected news and a worse than expected result on the PCE price index, on the inflation rate data. So the news is very bearish. So far, the market reaction is not incredibly strong. As you can see, equities are down, but equities are not down a lot. And the dollar strength index is up, but the dollar strength index is not up a lot. Although it seems like, I mean, I'm seeing the Bitcoin price from the corner of my eyes. But it does seem like the markets, the crypto market is reacting to it quite a bit. Bitcoin, relatively high volume, break below 67,000. If we break down below 67,000, as long as we're trading below 67,000, you have to be bearish. In my opinion, you have to be bearish. Then we're trading below the value area low. We're trading below a very significant level over the course of the last couple of days. So it's better to be risk off at the moment. That's just the way it is. And there are barely any altcoins. I mean, here you can see most major altcoins. There's barely any altcoins that are holding up relatively well. APW, no. I set up alerts And set up alerts on TradingView, or do you mean something else? Ryan, welcome. Well, welcome to the channel. Jugo and Etla. Are those cryptocurrency projects? I don't even know about those. I can look into them, but not in this stream. Wow, those are some small market cap ones. Maybe interesting though. I'll keep a tab on them. And and I'll let you know. Maybe I'll do some sort of a cryptocurrency review, because I am planning to do a couple more reviews on the channel. So they did look like interesting projects. I mean, whenever a project is looking quite good with a low market cap, I mean, I'm interested. But we'll see. Yeah, DH, DM me then. If you're, you should be in all the channels. But let me know. If I missed you, DM me and I'll put you in them right away. Yeah, I'll check them out, Ryan. They seem quite interesting. I have them noted down. Yeah, the UFO and alien files. I'm going to be very interesting to what comes out of that. I don't know. Yeah, World Liberty Financial is actually holding up relatively well. I mean, but look at this chart. I mean, what is this chart? This is not normal price action. It's far from that. I mean, look at this major move into the upside, and then I wouldn't even call this a consolidation. It's more of it looks more like they restricted trading everywhere. Maruti, Dogecoin. I wouldn't buy anything at the moment. So Dogecoin 9.5. I would wait for a strong reaction first. A strong reaction, or maybe something like this, right? So if we get something like this, then I would buy it. But after news like this, I wouldn't buy it. Okay, we're slowly going to close the stream right now. I have some videos to make. For everybody tuning in here at the end of the live stream, my apologies, but we are closing it. And but still, thank you for tuning in. The data that we had was bearish, basically the most bearish data we could have had from the news. And that's also why Bitcoin at this point of time is breaking down. For me, the most important level, as it has been the last couple of days. Daniel, news is bearish, very bearish. As I said the last couple of days, most important level is 67,000. Now, although the news was bearish, that doesn't necessarily mean that today is going to be bearish, okay? So don't become too sad. Just watch 67,000. If we reclaim that with strength, we can just as well have a bullish Friday like we had last week. That is a possibility, right? News rarely causes a direction shift, and usually it causes short-term volatility only. So we'll see, but for now I think you have to be bearish. As long as we're trading below 67,000, especially after news like this, you have to be bearish, I think, on the markets. And I think the selling so far has also not been aggressive enough to expect a short trap. So those are my thoughts. I'll be back with a new middle of the day market update, I think in 2 hours or so. Maruti, we can definitely do that. Soon, but that's it for now. So thank you for watching, everybody. I'll see you all in my next videos or in my next live streams.